Folks, welcome into SportsBookReview.com. It's time to talk some Major League Baseball playoffs for October 13th, 2020. Doubleheader once again in Major League Baseball. And I was watching this game last night going, boy, oh boy, here I am stuck in that quagmire again, Jason, talking about taking a team total over. And I got some ninth inning magic with those Atlanta Braves to go over the total of 3.5. Now, I sweated this out to the ninth inning. But Jason, yesterday, I don't think you sweated too much on your play.
Yeah, early in the game, Freddie Freeman hits a bomb of a home run into the fans in Texas. So that was really fun to see the fans out there and watching baseball. I think you and I both don't really understand, what kind of fans are going to these games. They're not fans of either of these teams. So it's pretty interesting to see fans of probably the Texas Rangers. Obviously don't have too many winning seasons, in the last decade, but pretty interesting just seeing the fans in the stands. Pretty fun. One home run, that was all it took. And when we got the under 4.5, not too much sweating, which is pretty good in that game. But two more games today. Some interesting pitching on the mound. So we'll have to see what happens.
Great stuff, man. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. Of course, this is the Major League Baseball show right here on SportsBookReview.com. Up over 100 subscribers yesterday alone. Jason did a Monday Night Football show. We had 70,800 subscribers. Today, we are clicking it at 70,900 subscribers. Thank you guys for doing that. Welcome into the chat box. Edwin, Kasparis, East, One for the Money, Jose, Chris, Lance, Gabriel, Vincent. Everybody here to talk a little bit of doubleheader of Major League Baseball. And going back to it yesterday, looking at the games overall, the one thing that we did say was, you know what? Probably a decent idea. If you're going to take both of these dogs, you probably come up with a split. That's exactly what happened. And we're able to pick up a little bit more money with some side plays and team totals. And today, look, when you're hovering in and trying to find your plays, I mean, Jason, the same as myself, we wake up in the morning, you crack open the odds that you saw from last night where they opened up and you say, what am I going to get after today? And everybody trying to line up and pencil in Clayton Kershaw. And of course, if you're just tuning into the show and don't know, about a half hour ago, it was announced that he does have back spasms and will miss the start. And Gonsolin is going to be the starter for the Dodgers. This is a must-win game, Jason, for the Dodgers. Interesting move to have your ace go down on game day when you really need this game.
And it seems like Kershaw always finds himself in these moments, these big moments, and maybe that's what kind of separates him from the GOATs when it comes to pitchers. But, no Kershaw. So we have Tony Gonsolin on the mound in this game against Ian Anderson. Anderson's a rookie pitcher coming into this game, looking really good in the postseason, looked really good throughout the entire season. And I think, people kind of forget that he was a highly touted prospect coming in. I think he was like a number 4 overall pick in the MLB draft just a couple of years ago. So he's got good stuff, and he's supposed to be this good. Had a 1.95 ERA in the regular season with a 2.54 FIP in 6 games started this season. So Anderson's he's a great pitcher. Sometimes the walks can get the best of him, but he's done a great job in the postseason, limiting walks to just 3 in 2 games so far. If he can continue to do that, he'll be a stud moving forward.
Yeah, if we take a look at the game today and break it down, first game, obviously, I have listed here Atlanta and the Los Angeles Dodgers. 6:05 Eastern time will be the first pitch in that game. Opened up, obviously, a heavy ticket count for the Dodgers, but now we're going to see if that balances out because we saw Clayton Kershaw going up against Ian Anderson, and you had that heavy number opening up in that 165 range, which is about right. Take a look at how well Anderson has pitched and some of these younger pitchers for the Braves. I mean, heading into the series, you thought it was be a really big mismatch in the Dodgers' favor, but now it looks like you got that game yesterday that you needed to get that 1-0 lead and leave it up to the young guys, but Anderson's been very good in the playoffs. Now, instead of going up against Clayton Kershaw, had a great playoff start, you're going to get Gonsolin in the lineup, and that line goes from 161, 165 down to about the mid-130s. Even William Hill out of Nevada here, Jason, showing a minus 122 as a favorite for the Dodgers, so a precipitous drop of about 30 to 40 cents, depending on where you're shopping at. And then also, when you take Clayton Kershaw out of the equation, you get a little bit of a bump to an over. So we open up at 7.5. Now we sit at 8 across the board. As we saw yesterday, there's still 2 really good lineups, but 2 really good teams that are pitching well out of the bullpen. Game goes right into the 9th inning at 1-1. So you're taking a look, and the Atlanta Braves shoot off. They get that 1-0 victory. Also, keep in mind, brought up the equation yesterday because I thought the Atlanta Braves would win that game. So if you're saying, you know what, I like the Dodgers in the series, wanted to wait. So now instead of laying that, $250 in that price range, we're now seeing a price. And now that Clayton Kershaw is out, got the updated lines before the show, we're looking at the Dodgers roughly a pick 'em now, Jason, minus 106 as a series price here also.
Yeah, and the Dodgers still would be favorites in my eyes in this series.
Yes.
Of course, we go the Tampa Bay Lightning. They were the favorites coming into the season. They got the win. The Lakers, they were favorites coming into the series, in the NBA. They got the win. The Dodgers were the favorites coming in, and maybe they'll win, right? If the trend continues in that direction. But of course, we don't bet on those kind of stupid trends. It's just something to bring up. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Dodgers offense can do. I think we talked about it yesterday, how the Braves bullpen has a ton of guys that have pitched in ton of pressure spots throughout their careers, a ton of closers that have done a great job for the Braves this season. And again, they did a great job in last night's game as well, shutting down the Dodgers and getting that win late in the game. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the Braves really have the better bullpen at this point, but the Dodgers still have the better hitting. Thought to show that today versus Anderson and a righty on the mound.
Yeah, even though Kershaw again is down, I did take a little piece of, again, just going off what I thought yesterday was going to take place. It did. It worked well for the Braves, and now I'm going to take the Dodgers, a small piece of that 106. Still a 7-game series. We're not talking about a 3-game series where it's a closed-out situation today, or even a 5-game series where that Game 1 win really gets a double-down focus. But 7 games, we'll see if that overall mentality of the bullpen, the starting pitching, and the hitters come alive for the Dodgers. I'll bank on that now. It's roughly down to a pick 'em. I think it makes sense. But getting to this game overall, as I said, Ian Anderson, young pitcher here, but doing very well in the playoffs. Now you're not getting that pedigree pitcher on one side, but you still get guys out of that bullpen that throw flames. Before the show, me and Jason were talking yesterday, just watching the Dodgers, like, hey, just reach in your bullpen and go out and get a guy that throws 101 on the black, and it's like, hey, no big deal, not bad an eye. 90% of Major League Baseball staffs, when they dip into the bullpen in the 5th or the 6th inning, you're getting the guy that's just trying to hopefully get through 2 or 3 batters when these guys are throwing absolute flames out here. And your point was well brought up also. Taking a look at the Atlanta Braves, like you got guys that used to pitching in heavy leverage situations. When you're a career closer, you're used to that pressure in the 9th inning closing out games. Now you got some of these guys coming in, Jason, in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, used to that and say, hey, this pressure is nothing here.
Yeah, and we saw Dustin May come in relief for the Dodgers. I mean, that's a guy that was coming in as one of the top prospects in all of baseball a couple of years ago. They called him, the other Syndergaard, right? Yeah. So Dustin May coming in to pitch in relief, that's just scary. So that's what you're going to get with the bullpens now. It's not, easy outs, easy, any of the, or it's not easy anything when it comes to these games, especially in the late games. So with that said, I like the Dodgers in this game still, but still look at them at around minus 120 with Gonsolin on the mound, because I do think, I do think the Dodgers are able to score runs against Anderson. They've hit righties well this season. And we don't talk about like a player is due to let up a couple runs, but Anderson has not allowed a single run in the postseason so far. In his third start, the law of averages would say, yeah, he's going to allow some runs. And the offense to score those runs would be the Dodgers offense, and they've hit well against righties throughout the entire season.
Gabriel Katz says, Astros over 3.5 looks good. We'll get to that game in just a few moments here, but putting a bow on this Dodgers game, if I think and put money on the Dodgers winning the series, I'm certainly not hoping that the Dodgers lose game 2 and go down 0-2, because then you're looking at a steep uphill climb. I don't care how talented your pitching staff will, or if Clayton Kershaw snaps out and gets some good medication and his back is now back to form, you don't want to be down 0-2 because the Braves are a formidable opponent. So I'm on the same wavelength as you, and even some of that thought process where you say, hey, look, you would really like Clayton Kershaw on the mound, but we're not taking a look at a even money line scenario that says, plus 100 if the Dodgers win on the mound. You get that slight downgrade of a pitcher in Gonsolin, but you also get a huge steep discount on the price. So you think those bats will wake up. The lineups are out for both teams. And when you factor in going up again, Ian Anderson has been very good as a rookie this year and very good in the playoffs. But I can't get over looking at that 2020 season, about 2 months worth of the damage that those Dodger bats do against right-handed pitching. If we take a look at just ISO power numbers here versus right-handed pitching for the Dodgers, Mookie Betts 345, Seager 310, Muncy 189, Will Smith 319, 268, Bellinger 206, Pollock, Peterson 217, and your ninth hitter, the catcher, 200 as an ISO, 362 weighted on base average. They could do some damage here.
Yeah. And that's why I would still recommend the Dodgers at the end of the day, because I do think the Dodgers score some runs in this game. Gonsolin hasn't been terrible either, right? He has a 2.31 ERA through Looks like 8 starts, 9 games. Hasn't pitched in the postseason, so that's one thing to look out for. Do the Dodgers go to the bullpen a little bit earlier? I think Gonsolin obviously has enough rest that he can go 6 innings, but if he does struggle early, he'll have a short leash, of course. But, Gonsolin hasn't really struggled that much throughout the entire season. Yeah, his September wasn't the best compared to his other months to start the season. He pitched a lot better early in the season and started to allow some more runs later into the season in September. I think the Braves will definitely score a couple runs in this game as well. When Kershaw was on the mound, I didn't think the Braves would be able to score. I thought, Kershaw, against the Braves, a team that strikes out a ton versus lefties, there's no chance for the Braves. The Dodgers had this one in the bag. Well, now you have Gonsolin on the mound. The Braves can definitely score some runs in this game. I just think the Dodgers score more runs in this game against Anderson and the righty. They're a lineup that just really performs well versus righties. And with that said, the Dodgers would probably sell my bet if I had to lean towards the game. I'd also look towards the over in this game as well. This is a 6 o'clock game now, so it changes a little bit in terms of the ball maybe flying out in the yard or whatnot. So we'll see. But again, the Dodgers and the over would be my leans.
Yeah, roof open, ballpark looks good. Fans in the stands in Texas. Now we're going to head out to the Sunshine State out there of California, 967, 968, which you're going to get good weather, but no fans in the stands. And you have 2 pitchers that maybe we can get some runs off of, because if we take a look at the last game that opened up as a total of 7.5, this one opened up at 8.5, and still 8.5s across the board. Yarborough, the lefty, is going to go against Urquidy, the righty, for Houston. About a 50-50 ticket split here at SPRodds.com. If we look across the board, opened up, Jason, roughly a pick 'em, and depending on where you're shopping at, maybe a 111 favorite for Tampa Bay. Then you see a 109 for Houston across the board. So roughly a pick 'em, which is great to try to get inside to and handicap it down. I've always been under the notion that I trust those long-term numbers. And Urquidy has looked decent, but he is a fly ball pitcher. If we're going to get warmer weather once again in San Diego, that tends to me to get the over. And then we're taking a look at Yarborough on the mound, the lefty. One thing that Houston can do well is hit left-handed pitchers by stacking those right-handers in the lineup. I think we get runs in this game today. It is an absolute must-win for the Houston Astros in this game. Doesn't mean you always win those games, but I actually trust Yarborough on the mound versus Urquidy. If I'm trying to balance that, I think Tampa Bay can get to Urquidy. I really do. So I'd see some runs in this game.
Yeah, and like you said, of course there's going to be runs in this game. Urquidy, he allowed 5 earned runs in his last 8.2 innings pitched already in the postseason. That equates to a 5.19 ERA in the postseason. Just 6 strikeouts in 8.2 innings pitched, with 3 walks and 4 home runs allowed for Urquidy. But Yarbrough, this is a guy. He allowed 2 runs in 5 innings pitched versus the Yankees on 6 hits. Had just 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Also allowed 1 home run as well in that game. Has an OBA of 256, so an opponent batting average of 256 on the season. Again, this is a guy who had a very good July, not so good in August and September. Obviously, won't go deep in this game because the Rays love to get their pitchers done after 4 or 5 innings and go to the bullpen. But like you said, the Astros definitely can score runs off of Yarbrough as well. And the thing is, like Bregman hitting .429 versus Yarbrough with 3 hits and 7 at bats. We have looks like Yoli Gurriel. He's 1 for 2. So there's a couple guys in the lineup that have faced Yarbrough before. Altuve has 2 singles and 3 hits off of 7 at bats. So these are guys that have hit off of him in the past and can definitely score some runs in this game as well. The big thing is, the Astros had 10 hits in their last game and lost. Right, McCullers pitched a better game. The Astros should have won that game. Realistically, just one bad pitch from McCullers is a 3-run homer for Manny Margot. After that, McCullers locked down, pitched really well, and the Astros just couldn't score with runners in scoring position. I think they turn around this game, get some runners in scoring position, and score, get them hits, because, again, Yarbrough, not a guy that gets strikeouts. Urquidy doesn't get strikeouts either. So I agree. Both teams will probably score the over on the team total. I'd take the Astros as a team total of 3.5 at around minus 134. I think the Astros have a better chance of getting their runs, but I do agree on both sides. I do think this game goes over. I think we'll see over on both of these team totals, get the trifecta that you always like to talk about.
Yes.
I agree. It's going to be an over game here.
Yeah, taking a look yesterday, even though Lance McCullers make a mistake pitch, he shouldn't even have to make that mistake pitch if Jose Altuve can make a simple throw to first base. So there are a lot of plays that get left out on the field that you don't talk about and say, hey, here's what that final score is. But you're right. They did have 10 hits yesterday, and we're talking about a really good hitting environment, warmer weather out there on the West Coast. Not going to have to really deal with any shadows since you get a game start around, 5:40 p.m. So you don't get that, 3:30, 4 o'clock shadows. That ball should travel tonight. It should be interesting to watch. But also you take a look at two pitchers that aren't necessarily strikeout pitchers. And when you take a look at the lineup for the Houston Astros, not a big strikeout lineup. Altuve's under 20%. Brantley's under 20%. How about Alex Bregman, the left-handed hitters or batters this year? 8.8% strikeout rate. Kyle Tucker, 14%. 6.7% for Yuli Gurriel. So they do have some guys with a lot of contact in that can also draw some walks. If this is the game to get runs, I'm thinking, 8.5, two pitchers, as long as you can avoid, I guess, Yarbrough having that 5 innings, 1 earned run, and then that nasty bullpen comes in. But if you can pace it on, again, you're talking about a 3.5, not a 4.5, not a 5.5. So if you can scrape out those 2 runs over the first 5 innings, you should be in some pretty good shape in this ball game. But I'm going to go with the opposite of you, but still on the same wavelength. We both think there's going to be runs. You're going to jump on one team total. I'm going to jump on the other. Tampa Bay over 4, listed at William Hill at -125. I think they get at least those 4 runs, which would give you the push. Hopefully push that over 5. And if they do get 5 runs, that game is also going to be able to go over the 8.5 total. But also in the first game, I'm going to not take a side in that one, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers for the series at -106. So those would be my 2 best bet and banker plays. Was able to squeak out a victory yesterday and pick up a little bit of money on the double shot of the dogs. But today I'm going to go with the Dodgers -106 for the series. And again, Tampa over 4, -125. Jason, just recap your best bets and bankers today, Major League Baseball.
Yeah, so we're going to go with the Astros over 3.5 on the team total. So again, all they need is 4 runs in a game where Yarbrough's not going to get many strikeouts, and they can probably get a lot of balls in play. And also, Yarbrough does have a .295 batting average of balls in play, so it's nearly 300 when balls are in play. Like you said, the Astros, they don't strike out too often. Yarbrough doesn't get too many strikeouts very often, so balls will be in play. And against Yarbrough on the season, again, it was a .295 batting average of balls in play against him, which means 30% of the time that's going to be a base hit. And with that said, I do like the Astros over 3.5 team total at -134 as the official play and the banker of the day. I do have an article up on SBR. It was the Dodgers, but that was when Clayton Kershaw was pitching. So I still like the Dodgers. It's not an official play anymore. I still like that play. I still like that article. You can definitely read it up on that as well. You can look at how the Dodgers might hit off of Ian Anderson. So there's still some solid value in that article. But my official play now is turned to the Astros over 3.5 instead of the Dodgers because no more Kershaw.
Always changing with the information standpoint. You say, well, Jason says he has a article. Where can I read it? Guys, very simple. SBRpicks.com/MLB for all your Major League Baseball information, including Jason's articles and a lot of videos designed to make you a better Major League Baseball gambler, specifically here in the playoffs for 2020. And think about 2020, a nice 20-minute show here, guys. Thank you for checking us in. Over 200 people watching the show. We do thank you for spending your lunch with us today. See if we could pick out some winners. These games, yesterday was a little bit nicer because I like that 4 o'clock start, but it's a little bit later today. Also, keep in mind, sandwiched in between those 2 games, there's actually an NFL game here on a Tuesday night as well. So a lot of things going on here at sportsbookreview.com. Check it all out. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. 70,900 people have hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done so yet, please feel free to do so. Turn that notification bell on every time Jason and I go live to talk Major League Baseball. You'll get that notification delivered. Good luck on your bets tonight. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbookreview.com, and this was your baseball show for Tuesday. Good luck, guys.